Woo! Yeah! Fun, wow. Having a blast. I'm gonna make the light. And of course not, I'm not gonna make the light. Why would I? Yeah, right, sure. Like it's some pristine Ferrari or some classic muscle car with a $20,000 paint job. That was a good one. All right, going through a tunnel, let's hear it. Yeah, love that. Well, you know, I still love my car though. I finally gave it a little cleaning up, which is, I think a year. Or longer, because the car was down for almost a year, and then I fixed it up. I haven't washed this car and detailed and all that, and it was kind of nice. You know, the paint's been just going straight to hell on me, and well, I kind of started not caring so much. And you know, well, let me go back a little bit. I have been in the past worked at custom paint shops, and I had a good friend of mine. I did a video on his model cars, if you want to check that out, in the description below, or maybe I'll put it here, who knows. Anyways, he was one of my closest friends, and this guy was an award-winning painter. He worked for a local hot rod shop that's known all over the world. He's been on, you know, his work's been on TV. He's been on the cover of magazines and stuff like that. He taught me a lot about paint and finish and quality, and it kind of spoiled me to where I look at paint jobs that even people would go, that is a really nice paint job, and I just see flaws, because when I worked for him, I was trained to look for those flaws. For a guy who has no nice paint jobs on any of the cars, I'm like kind of a paint snob when it comes to that. When I was looking for a Foxbody Mustang, this was 5 years ago. I was buying up a whole bunch of cars. I had a couple of cool ones, but I had to pick one of them. So out of them all, I kept this one, and I let this really cool C10 I had. Thing was slammed to the ground, and this car was done right as a truck. It was tight. And I found where I had this idea. I always wanted like a late 60s Falcon. I found this cool 69 Falcon with a straight six, and I was gonna do this thing up with all the suspension upgrades, the straight six. But I had a hankering for doing autocross, and I always wanted a Foxbody Mustang. I thought, you know, I want to pick up a Mustang and basically be ready to go and just do upgrades. I don't have to do some major stuff like what I would have to do with that Falcon would be major fabrication. I didn't want to get into that. I wanted a car that I could upgrade while I drove. The C10 was cool, but that was more along, that would have been great for drag racing, which, man, I wish I would have held on to it for that. because now I would like to do some drag racing with something like that. That truck was so cool. Out of all of my sight, I'd let those two go and I would hold on to this Mustang. When I found this Mustang, it was up between 3 cars. And I noticed at this time, the money for these were starting to go up. I was thinking, I better grab them before they you know, get to the stratospheric heights. And I found 3 of them. They were all around the same price. It was about $5,500 bucks. There was this one. There was this gray one that had all this Maximum Motorsports stuff under it, and it was a pretty nice car, very high mileage. And I found a really clean LX. Both of those were LX. This was a GT, and I've said it before, I really wanted an LX. I don't like all the GT ground effects. The other one, I was pretty much gonna buy it. It was like this strawberry, and it had the red or strawberry interior. I guess that's what they call it, strawberry red or something. I wasn't too keen on the interior, but damn, this car was nice. But again, it was over 100,000 miles. This guy hadn't done a lot of stuff to it. It was super clean. And I, in the middle of me talking to him, all of a sudden he stopped texting. And I'm like, what the heck happened? Did he sell it and he's just blowing me off? Couldn't get a hold of the guy. So the other car that had all the Maximum Motorsports stuff done to it, again, high mileage, driven hard. It had a problem in the rear end. The guy had all the parts for the rear end, but I just didn't want to deal with that. And I was kind of like, at the time, which if I thought, man, all that Maximum Motorsports stuff would have been, I wanted to do my own work to it. I wanted a clean slate. That's where this car came in. When I found this one had 87,000 miles. Most of its life was owned by an older lady who bought it new because she was celebrating her divorce, and basically the guy I got it from was second owner. All he had done was put a Cobra intake on it, and I've stated all this, and he put the 373 gears in it. Other than that, the car was untouched. Super clean underneath. But man, this car had the worst paint job. Now, he said to me that the original paint job on it was pretty much burned away, like right down to the metal. He said you would rather have it this way than that. And actually, quite honestly, I'd rather have original paint that's burned right to the metal than have a bad paint job put on it and bad prepping and stuff. This car is just riddled with it. And that was the hard pill to swallow on this car. And it kind of later would haunt me. So I went ahead and went for this car because the red car, or red strawberry, the guy, I lost contact. I thought that car was gone. So I bought this car immediately having buyer's remorse. The paint job really bothered me. The interior was pretty decent, you guys seen it, but the paint job really, really annoyed me. But there was a reason why I bought this. Again, untouched, unmolested, no cutting to the car, clean, low miles, hasn't been romped on. To find a 5-speed that hasn't been romped on, nobody drag raced that. Torque box is perfect. Everything's perfect underneath. There's no sign of abuse. Well, I got rid of all the other cars, and then I was like, man, I don't know. I was just having some buyer remorse on this thing. I was learning about these cars, and then I started thinking, man, I paid way too much. I paid $5,500 for this. This is back in 15. But that seemed to be the trend. All of a sudden, right after I bought this, I started watching, and the prices were just dropping. Whammo. Hitting the ground. I tried to sell the car, and it's like I wasn't going to take a loss, but I could not get the money for it. But if I could sell it, get my money back, that's cool. It really come to it. The paint job bothered me that much. I got to get over it. You know, I started seeing cars for lesser money, looked better. I had a friend of mine said, but you're not finding them at this low mileage, untouched and uncut and unromped. I just couldn't get it through my head. This paint job really bugged me. Now the roof was really bad. It was like a sheet of sandpaper. It was fuzzy. That absolutely drove me nuts. I'd go to the car hangouts, and it's like I was embarrassed of the car. Under the hood looked terrible. The car needed a total detailing. There was some shoddy work here and there. You know, it was leaking at the water pump. It seemed like the water pump was replaced, but it wasn't sealed up quite correctly. I don't know, the car was like embarrassing to me. And I would go and I'd see, you know, I'd go to the car, hang out, and I'd see other Fox bodies, and everybody just had, in my eyes, just nicer cars. It was just letting me down. I could not get over this. It was really, really bothering me. Woohoo! That was fun. These cars are a blast. But that's one thing, you know, one thing I kept saying is this is like one of the funnest cars to drive that I ever had. You know, I'd clean the car. It looked pretty nice when I got it. You know, it was a good 20-footer. But also the paint job was done with really cheap paint. So really quick, within a year, I started noticing it wasn't as shiny. It wasn't as shiny. It was really dulling out. So I would go times with it being, you know, I started not really caring about appearance. In the long run, the good thing about it having the crappy paint job, the good thing that I paid too much for it at the time is I couldn't sell the car, because I tried to put it up on Craigslist a couple times. I couldn't sell it to get my money back. That ends up being a good thing. I'm glad I never sold the car. I'm glad I got it. So I went with that whole story of, you know, I took the ground effects off. I like the front end, but I wanted to have that more LX look. I like the rounded. I like when cars are rounded on the sides, that fuselage look, and they tuck under. And when you have those ground effects, it takes that look away. So I got the look I wanted, finding that LX rear bumper. I get lucky. The things that I want to do to this car, what are the chances of me finding an already black bumper? What are the chances of me finding an already black hood really cheap? You know, I was playing with the fact I needed the hood clearance. You know, everything just kind of fell in place like it's meant to be. And, you know, I thought I'd have fun with the car. It's mine. I'm doing stuff that, you know, a lot of people say, oh, you shouldn't do that to that car. And, well, guess what? It's my car. I don't really care what people think. I like what it looks like. I don't have the money for wheels. I got good tires on it. I kept the pony wheels that were on there. Caps were crappy. They're dull. You know, the finish on they're not in good shape, really. So I plastic dicked it. You know, I like the blacked out wheels. So it gives it that kind of, you know, in my eyes, kind of more race car look. I cut the springs and lowered this thing. Because again, I'm a man on a budget. I don't have a lot of money to throw into my cars right away. But I wanted to get this thing a little lower stance. It handles great. It does fine. I know how to set things up. I did a proper alignment on it. Car drives great. I have no issues with it. I wanted to put stickers on it. I started getting vinyl stickers from eBay that were things that I use, you know, products that I use. I just felt like putting that on the car. I wanted to have fun with it. Since it was a crap paint job, you know, in my mind, I just needed to cover that up. Then finally, I took a buffer, kind of wet sand the roof, and got it smooth. It still needs some work. There's still a lot of swirls in it. I'll work it out. Because it's a clear coat, but it's really thin. I don't want to burn through it. But at least I got rid of that sandpaper look. That made me feel a lot better. But, you know, there's sags and there's runs and there's places where the guy tried to sand out sags and it thinned through, and under the door, the lower portion of the doors, he didn't even clear. It's like flat base coat. Just really, really poor workmanship. Well, you know, I'm just rolling with it. I make the car look the best it does, and you know, I kind of don't have to worry about it. You know, if you have a nice paint job, you got to worry about it all the time. But it's tough, you know. I want a nice paint job, but it's just not in the cards. I don't want to put that kind of money into it. I'd rather put it into other areas and just drive this thing and enjoy it. Yesterday, I decided, you know what? I'm going to take it through the car wash, knock the dirt off. I brought it home, and you know, it looked pretty nice. And then, like, I got up really early the next morning on my day off, and I just went out and I had this stuff I've had for years, because I don't use it because I don't have any nice paint jobs on any cars anymore. That spray detailer stuff, and I started spraying the car and wiping it down with the microfiber towels, and hey, this thing ain't looking too bad. cleaned the wheels and the tires up a little bit. They need to be re-plastic dip. It's been like 4 years since I did it, but there's a few that are, you know, the plastic dip's been scraped off. But actually, they cleaned up pretty good. You know, the car is what it is. And I'm having a blast with it. And I just gotta get myself over this paint job. You know, I go hang out with these Foxbody Mustang guys that I've been hanging out with lately. All their cars are really nice. Some of them, they have original paint jobs, and they get them buffed out. You know, if it was original paint, you can kind of bring it back. There's no bringing this paint. And I was showing up with the car dirty because I just didn't care. You know, and I could tell everybody's looking at everybody's car, and mine's just, you know, nobody really cares about it. But don't get me wrong, these guys are all cool. Totally let me into the group. I learned a lot from them. They've helped me out with a lot of questions I had about these cars. So I like hanging with these guys. I want to cruise around with them. You know, they let me in. They don't have an attitude towards me because my car's not as nice as theirs. Where I've been with car groups before, and I would get shunned because my car just wasn't up to standards. You still got to take care of them. I was neglecting it. I gave it this wash. I wiped it down, and I really do. I feel a lot better. I'm starting to get myself over this whole crappy paint job thing. It's been making me. You know, I think about what I paid for the car, and I see cars going for a little bit less money that look a lot better. But I got to look at the good points of this thing. And whole point of my story is, you know, you get what you can get. You know, be happy with what you have. Don't be, you know, everybody would like to have that beautiful car that's perfect paint job, but you know, there's problems that come with that. This thing I can run the hell out of, and I don't have to worry about messing up the paint job. I like what it looks like. I enjoy it. I think it looks pretty cool. It gets attention, you know, but that's not what I'm in it for. It's just a fun car, and just, you know, we got to take these things, enjoy them with whatever we have. Don't be down on your car because it might not look that great. It might not look like, you know, the guys that you're trying to pal around with. It might not look like the other YouTubers, you know, that you watch these YouTube guys that have these beautiful cars. Brutal Vlogs, Clone Cobra, that car's turning out beautiful. He bust his butt on that. I was watching that whole thing. That's inspirational. I just don't want to. I hate doing body work and paint, so I'm probably not going to ever do it. And then you've got Kayla's from Foxcast Media's, that is Coyote Swap. That is a sweet looking car, and the cars that they work on that channel. You know, you got some beautiful, beautiful vehicles. Hey, mine's not that, but mine's mine. And that's what you got to look at. Go out, drive, enjoy, be proud of your car. Don't worry about what others say. Don't let this stuff ruin your enjoyment of the car because it isn't perfect. And tinker with it, make it perfect for you, and do what you want. And if people say, you know, give you crap for all your stickers on it, hey, it's my car. I like my stickers. So I'm going to do that. It sure is a fun car to drive. It sure is a fun car to own. I'm going to be keeping this thing for a long time. And who knows, maybe one day I'll knock it down and redo it and get it all painted and everything. But it's not my bag. I'd rather do other things. I like to do mechanical stuff to it. I just like to drive it. I really hate the idea of having this thing down for a long time. That will really suck because I had it down for a year. And what sucks about the year that I had it down, which was 2018, never drove it that whole year. And that was its 30th year. So this is an 88. And I got to thinking at the end of the year, it's like, man, I never did anything with that car while it was 30 years old. Now it's 32 years old. Now I'm doing stuff with it. Thanks for watching, listening to my rant. Go out there and enjoy your car. Do your things to it. You know, even if they're got different color panels on them, and they you know, scratched or orange peeled or had a bad paint job with bad prepping, and you can see the prepping scratches coming through, or whatever issue you have with your car, and give it a nice cleanup. Wipe that baby down, enjoy it, be proud of it, because you know what? It will look better. It'll make you feel better. You got to let that stuff go and just, you know, you love your car, just enjoy it and have a great time with it. So thanks a bunch for jumping in and checking us out in the garage again, and give us that thumbs up, hit that like button and subscribe, and you know, keep on watching. I'm going to make more of these, and you guys who've been following this channel for a long time, when I was doing my model car stuff, don't worry, I'm going to be doing my model car stuff. This is just something I've felt like doing for a while. I'm going to be bouncing back and forth. So, and you guys who are starting to jump on, because you might be a Foxbody owner, and here's another Foxbody Mustang channel, you think, well, hey, check out the model car stuff, because hey, we all love cars. I'm going to be covering other types of cars too. If you haven't taken your hand at model car building, it's a neat extension of this hobby. It's all a fun hobby. You know, us having fun with our real cars and having fun with our scale model cars. If you haven't watched any of those videos, check them out. I do some pretty fun stuff with that, and I got a lot of great tips to help you out. If you want to get into building model cars, I'll point you in the right direction. So thanks a bunch. We'll see you in the next video.